Dad's statements. So you can imagine what it was like to have your wife correct you in front of the children on the way home from church or something, and boy, she would. What she did do was instill into us certain things. And good mothers will do that. We're going to read The Wife of Noble Character. And I'm going to read it in its entirety. But it's at the very last of Proverbs, and I don't think that is an afterthought thing. I don't think this part of it is an afterthought thing. I believe that this is the capstone. I believe all through Proverbs he's building principle on principle, standing stone on standing stone, foundation on foundation, building. And then he caps it with this, and it's something that we are at a loss for today. I want you to look at this and then keep in mind the rhetoric from a lot of different directions in our culture today. That there is something less in a woman that is a mother. Did you get the stir when one of the Democratic leaders, spokespeople said, Ann Romney hasn't worked a day in her life? Did you get that? This is the mindset that is trying to confuse who we are today.
Amen.
The world, and I wrote on my Facebook, the world is upside down, and it is. What was right is now wrong, and what was wrong is now right, and they want to force it on us. They want to force us to accept their wrong behavior, and it doesn't make any difference who it is. Pedophiles have this organization called Normal, and that is to try to force their viewpoints on us through legislation and legal angles. The homosexual agenda, trying to force that on us. I've tried to have things forced on me before. When I went to the Navy, they wanted to actually force responsibility on me, and I rebelled. And I don't do well with things being forced. Now, they managed to beat it out of me, and I kowtowed. But I still don't do things under force well. I still don't. And chances are neither do you. That subject is another Sunday. But this idea that our culture is changeable. What I said on my Facebook, and y'all ought to check on that every once in a while, because I generally keep it centered around what happens here. Okay? But what I said was this. Oddly enough, we were called to be a Christian despite the culture. Christians in Rome were called to be Christians under Nero, under Diocletian, as well as under Constantine. Amen. Christians in the Middle Ages were called to be Christians despite Attila the Hun moving in on them. All right? Christians have always been called to be Christians no matter what the political agenda was around them, no matter what the culture was around them. We were called to be above it.
Amen.
Sometimes the culture has met Christian doctrine. Other times it has taken a drastic move away. Our history has had 3 or 4 occasions where we've rocked and rolled into alignment with Christian doctrine and then rolled back out again. And that's just the way society is. That's the way cultures are. That's the way political systems are. It used to be, we have a choice now, we can make a difference with our vote, but it used to be that a king would set the agenda. Then he would die and his liberal son would take over. And then he'd get old and get more conservative as he got older, and then he'd die. And his son would take over and go like this. It's the same thing. Human government, human culture is always going to be a mess. But we are called to be steadfast. We are called to stand firm.
Amen.
Mothers, young mothers, older mothers, we are counting on you to stand firm. To be this entity in the middle of the mix that does not waver. I could always count on my mother. I would avoid her when I was doing wrong because she was consistent and I wasn't. When I was doing wrong, I would go the other direction because I did not want her to say to me face to face, you need to live for the Lord, Clark. You need to get your life right. You're not living right. I didn't want to hear that. I wanted to, like the culture today, I wanted to be accepted for how I was. And a mother, a good mother that's worth her salt, will never accept weakness and stupidity and brokenness in the lives of their children. They'll always reach the pole. I want to read this in. Now, it's going to sound a lot like a deal to wives, but kids, pay attention here because there's some principles here I want you to get. A wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She is like a merchant ship bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it is still dark. She provides food for her family and portions for her servant girls. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her task. She sees that her trading is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. In her hands, she holds the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected in the city gates, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them. She supplies the merchant ships with sashes. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive, and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her the reward she has earned, and let her works bring her praise in the city gates.
Amen. Amen.
All right. It's a pretty high standard. Not really. Not really. Most women accomplish this and don't even know it. Most men see this and don't recognize it. Most children are witness to this and pay no respect to it. If there is a woman here who has gotten her tired, overworked tail out of bed in the morning and gone down and made breakfast for her kids or packed lunches for them to go to school before they gone off to work, they have witnessed this. They have witnessed a woman who is working behind the scenes, doing the mindless tasks, cementing the foundation of the nest, doing good to her children, providing, bringing into the household provisions. Most men watch their wives do this. There's very few men these days that have a stay-at-home wife. Most men nowadays have a wife that works out of the home. Most children see their mothers dead dog tired, worn to a frazzle, and spread way too thin.
Amen.
Yet, for the Christian woman, and let me bring this back to the reality of things. For the Christian woman, there is this root that is noble, and it is Jesus Christ.
Amen.
What she does is done out of that as their root. They filtered everything through that, or should. Maybe this is a call to challenge you. Maybe it is a call for you to recognize the necessary qualities in you that your children are needing to see. Young mothers, listen to me. Your children need to see these qualities.
Amen.
It is hard enough to get these kids to adulthood without them having to carry your baggage with them too.
Amen.
Young mothers, pay attention.